Jumbo!
We are in Kampala today, and our plan for the day is really interesting because we are going to the center of the earth.
Not literally the center, but to the equator. So our plan is to actually go down to the city center and grab public transport to head out about 80 kilometers outside of Kampala city on the Masaka Highway. We want to go to, what is that?
The taxi park where we can get taxi to Kayabwe.
To go to Kayabwe. No? So the last few days we've just actually been exploring the nightlife here in Kampala with our new friends. So that has kept us very, very busy.
It's so crazy out here. Last Saturday night we were out from 10 o'clock and we returned back only Sunday morning at 6 o'clock. We have danced so much. The step count on our watches are almost 26,000.
So that's the first time we've actually stayed out that late on our own. And yeah, it was such an interesting first time experience. Okay, there's another Boda guy coming. Let's try. Hey brother, we want to go to Kayabwe, yeah? You know where we can get the matatu for cheap?
Which side?
To Kayabwe on the Masaka Highway.
Masaka?
Yeah.
Masaka Highway.
Huh? Hi.
We go?
Yeah. Let's go, brother.
You taxi park?
Yes.
Okay, so we have just arrived at Kampala Taxi Park. You may remember this place from our first day in Kampala. It's a very crazy, very big area. It's almost like Majestic in Bangalore. It's a huge area where
like 200 or 300 of the matatus standing here. Let's see which one will take us to the equator point.
Let's go. So we just got the matatu now. It's 10k per person. It's an empty vehicle, so it'll take a long time to fill in.
And we're sitting in the front, so no crowding. So we are finally in the shared taxi van. We are the first ones, so we got the first two seats. In case you have to take a matatu or a shared taxi in Uganda or anywhere in East Africa, it's always preferred to take the front two seats because they won't cramp more people in this room.
The rest of the seats, as you can see, like okay. So as you can see, the rest of the seats is almost 3 here, 3 behind and 3 farther behind. It's not just for 9 people. It's actually going to fit at least
15 people.
Yeah. So each row is going to have between 4 to 5 people depending on how big they are and how much more the driver can push people in. But typically in the front they only do 2 plus the driver. So they have 1 seat for the driver there. And we also wanted to tell you a little bit about how the whole matatu system works here. The taxi park is actually the place where all of the different routes begin from. It's in the very center of Kampala. So the old taxi park that you saw in our other video, that caters to one set of places. Thank you, sister. So the old taxi park caters to some routes and the new taxi park caters to some other routes. We just heard some loading happening in the back. The whole taxi shakes when they do that.
And the taxi will start only when it's full. It won't leave otherwise. So we'll have to wait for some time.
So it's never predictable as to what time you will leave and what time you will reach. And there's always a vendor or two selling something along the side of the
Every 10
vehicle.
seconds there's a vendor coming in with a samosa or a headphone or a Bluetooth speaker
Yeah.
or snacks.
So every matatu actually has a board like this where they have all of the stops on this particular route marked.
So right now you can see we are going from Kampala all the way to Equator. So they have kept this board, even the opposite side, the same board is there. And sometimes they even mention the price on these boards. So you'll get to know whether it's 5,000 or 10,000.
But we begin to notice that now that they don't put the prices on all the vehicles, they usually tend to start at a very high price.
Yes, Subha.
They tend to start at a very high price, and you see Shish got a bit anxious about the bag. That's very important. Everybody's told us in the taxi parks to be very careful and as alert as you can to just safeguard your stuff. So
Always secure your bag, like put it across your body or like angle it with your arms or keep it safe. Like even if somebody tries to snatch it, you should be able to put it back.
yeah,
That's very important.
during the day it's still okay. It's precisely during the night that things get a bit more complicated. So anyway, boards typically have the routes, but they don't always mention the price. So it's best to do a bit of research and walk around to find out the local price before you offer whatever you want to pay for the ticket. Usually there's a base price. On this route it's 10k. We tried going further below that, but nobody was ready to go. 10k per person to get to the equator, which is about 222 rupees or just over $3.
Yep.
And
This will be a 2-hour ride. Kampala has crazy traffic. We might have reached there sooner if we were outside of Kampala, but I think to just get till the outskirts of Kampala is going to take at least half an hour to 40 minutes.
this is said to be one of the busiest roads in the whole country between Kampala and Masaka, so you can imagine. Anyways, we have to wait until all of the seats fill up here, and God knows how long that will take. So we'll catch you when the vehicle starts moving again.
Just got some corn.
Uganda.
This is new, huh? Giving me like this. Okay. Thank you, thank you.
That was so funny the way she sprinkled the salt on it.
Welcome to the equator.
So we got off the Matatu and here we are at the Equator Point in Uganda. It is near, very close to the Masaka city, and they have made a little monument or like something like a tourist attraction so that when people are passing on the highway they can just stop for a quick photo stop in the middle of the earth. And also there's a restaurant behind. I think we will go and have some juice there later. But why is this point so important?
So as most of you already know, the equator is a very special man-made creation. On the earth it actually does not exist. It's just an imaginary line drawn by humans based on decades and centuries and millenniums of research, you could say. The equator basically splits the earth into two equal halves, one which is the northern hemisphere on this side and one which is the southern hemisphere on this side. So this line here is actually 0 degrees latitude. So from here, we have the latitudes that go all the way up to 90 degrees, which is where the North Pole lies, and minus 90, which is where the South Pole lies. And somewhere exactly in between is the 0 degree mark. And Shishira is now standing exactly on top of it. And this line actually continues well behind into the restaurant as well. and on the other side it continues through another restaurant. So you can actually come and see this point from either side. It's free to actually come and see this whole thing, but we just learned that it is possible to do a few fun experiments about the equator with a guide there, so we'll probably go check that out too.
This imaginary line, the equator, passes through almost 13 countries around the world. In Africa, it passes through Democratic Republic of Congo, Somaliland, Uganda, Kenya.
And then it continues further on, like in South America you see it covering
Ecuador.
Guyana, Ecuador, and on the other side in Asia you see it covering Indonesia, and then a bunch of islands further in the Pacific. So this is how the circle actually goes around.
At this point, the sun is like directly on our head, and it's almost 1 o'clock now, and you can see below our shadow. It's so tiny. Probably if we had come an hour earlier, we might not have even seen the shadow, or maybe just a little bit.
There are actually 2 specific days in a year, you probably already know, on which day the sun shines directly above the equator. So if you stand here on those days, you will see you will see a zero shadow day. You'll experience a zero shadow day where you're just straight under the sun.
But today is really sunny.
As you probably already know, the equator is actually at the widest point of Earth. So the Earth isn't really a circle, it's more of a spherical shape. You could also, in simple words, say it's a bit oval, where at the poles, at the North Pole and the South Pole, it's a lot more flat compared to at the equator where it's bulging out. So a lot of this has to do with how the Earth spins around the sun and the spin it has on its own axis, which creates that distinct shape. There's a very interesting experiment. This is Alfred. Hi, Alfred.
Nice to meet you at the Equator Line in Uganda.
Thank you. So he's going to show us some very interesting things that happen just along the equator.
Absolutely, yes.
Awesome.
So Alfred, Pasco, Munge are my names. So we are at the Equator Line in Uganda. We are going to do an experiment to prove that the forces of North and South don't spin the same.
Okay.
India, Germany, Netherlands, that's North.
Okay.
South Africa, Australia, Tanzania, South. So in India, when you flush your toilets, the water spins clockwise. Then south of the equator, the water spins anti-clockwise. And at the Equator Line, no spinning. So I'm going to put in this funnel. North of the equator, just like I said before, always the water spins in a clockwise movement.
So really now you're in northern hemisphere and really need a clockwise
Then after that, we stabilize.
So the flower is what helps us identify the direction.
So northern hemisphere, the water spins clockwise.
So
So the water is just spinning around in a clockwise direction as it drains out into the bucket below.
So now we are going to cross the line from the northern hemisphere. We go to the southern and swap in south of the equator where the water spins anti-clockwise. So this one will be the last.
So now we're in the southern hemisphere. Huh?
So in the south, and water spins anti-clockwise.
yeah.
Only 13 countries where you can find the same experiment. 13 countries crossed by the Equator Line. Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Sao Tome, Gabon, Congo Brazzaville, Congo DRC, Uganda, Kenya, Somalia, Indonesia, Gorontalo, now. Only 13 countries crossed by the Equator Line. So now we need to check out the Equator Line and see what happens.
So you can see this is the 0-degree latitude line.
You don't even have to stabilize the water.
You have to stabilize. You want to stabilize?
Yeah. Whoa. You see, it's going directly into the water.
that the Equator Line is split. No clockwise, no anti. This is the middle of the world.
Interesting.
21st of March, 23rd of September, they call the Equatorial Equinox days in Uganda. On those 2 days, when you come and stand at the Equator Line, 21st March and 23rd September, you have no shadow because the sun is directly overhead the equator. So midday, the sun points right at the equator line, so we're shadowless, right? So that's the experiment I've been doing. It's about the Coriolis effect. As the world is rotating, North Pole pulls clockwise, South Pole pulls anti-clockwise. So welcome at the Equator Line.
Thank you. So you see, that was the experiment, but if you ask, does the Coriolis effect very obviously play out? Yes, in many different circumstances it does. Is this 100% genuine?
Don't know.
So of course, in many countries you see a lot of these attractions everywhere. The science behind what happens is actually true. It's 100% true. Of course, as you cross the equator on either side, it doesn't necessarily mean that instantly that's what you actually see to play out. But it's really interesting because it's not every day you get to be on the equator line, something that's defined by mankind, something that's glorified by mankind. So it's something we also wanted to see. When you come here to this spot, you can also get a certificate of actually having been here at the center of the earth. So this is a certificate that tells you that you have actually been here with a number. So this certificate numbers about 52 million. That means 52 million people have attested to having come here. So you can also get this certificate if you come down here and do the experiments. So it's pretty cool. So we just came into the restaurant, got some cola and nachos.
It's tortilla chips with guacamole, my favorite avocado paste with some lemon and onion, and it's hot. Ooh, it's so crispy and hot. I think these are like normal African chapatis which are cut into triangles and deep fried. It's their like local tortilla chips. It's good. Is it okay if I take video? Inside the matatu heading back to Kampala. So we're now sitting in the back row. As you can see, it's all so full. And now they're adding one more person inside. Okay, brother, let's go. North, south, north, south, south. You should jump. South, north and south.